Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Wolner here. How's everybody getting along? Welcome to MeteoMark's Weather Eastern and Weather Northeastern here. We have a storm system that's going to cause some big-time thunderstorms here along the Gulf Coast, particularly on Friday, St. Patrick's Day. And it's going to spread rain. Here's the big-time thunderstorms that are going to be rolling through parts of the south for your Friday. And as we cruise right up the coast, we're going to be looking at some rainfall here up into portions of the Northeast. And we're going to cruise through the next several days to see what your weather is going to look like upstairs. 500 millibars, a couple miles up to see exactly what's going to be happening down on the ground. As you can see, look, your eyes are drawn to this big trough that's going to kick in later in the weekend into early next week. Look, this is right around the 19th, so we just back it up just a little bit here, the 18th and the 19th. What exactly is this? What is this feature? Well, it's going to be kicking some cold air across the eastern part of the United States. Now, some people and some models have said that we're going to get some sort of East Coast snowstorm. I don't see that happening yet. It just doesn't seem like the pattern. Yeah, you can cold air. You can have all the cold air in the world, but you know what? If you don't have the type of trough, the type of pattern you need to get a low pressure moving up the coast, yeah, you can get one developing in the southeast. Look at that. It kind of just remains pretty progressive, and then look at that big old ridge right behind it. Let's get into it. All right, so the northern stream part of this system, yeah, there's a wintry component way up here into parts of northern Wisconsin, Minnesota, and then heading out into Canada. But the big story is going to be the rain blossoming east here towards Indiana, Ohio, Cleveland, Erie, Buffalo region. This is 4 a.m. Friday morning, just before you're waking up. Look at there, 8 a.m. going to work or school. Yeah, rain's moving through Cleveland, Erie, and Buffalo. You'll probably pick up a quarter to a half an inch possible here. And then look at that, the Interstate 81 corridor, just as you're heading off to work from Binghamton to Scranton. Yep, you're going to be looking at some rain showers, a tenth to a quarter of an inch likely. And look at that as we head towards 5 p.m. Yeah, this is where we're starting to get into a convective line here. You can kind of see it showing up here from Kingston, Canada, all the way down to the Appalachians here. Look at this. Yeah, we could say some heavier, gustier showers or thunder, rumble of thunder as well. And watch this as we continue to head into, there it is, 10 p.m. on Friday night. You notice this rain shadow here in the Northeast. It's just been with us all winter long, and it just seems like every system that comes by pretty much misses you. Now, look what's kicking in behind you. You may see a couple inches of snow here from Cleveland, Erie, up to Buffalo, and there may be, an area of 6+ inches in the Tug Hill of New York and southwestern parts of New York here later Saturday into early Sunday. So this is getting into 10 p.m. Friday night. So this is not quite yet to that area, but watch as we head towards, this is 6 a.m. on Saturday. Watch what happens to the orientation of these snow squalls. Look at this. You get this Arctic front trying to blast through. You get a big old snow squall here that might drop, a couple inches as it moves through. So definitely keep an eye out here. Look at this. Yeah. And on the back side of this system here, the orientation of this snowfall and this wind is going to plow this right into parts of southwestern New York and into the Tug Hill of New York as well. And let's just zoom in a little bit closer to New York State here. There it is. There's the snowfall accumulations. The only mesoscale model I can get, this close up is the NAM 3 kilometer. There's the Tug Hill and then parts of southwestern New York State. We may approach warning criteria snow in some of these heavier snow bands to the midpoint of the weekend. All right, as we take a look at our NAO index, we are going to remain just slightly negative. So yeah, we're kind of almost in that neutral phase at this point. So nothing extremely exciting. Polar vortex, that's a word we haven't heard much this winter. As we continue to go through next week, the 21st, 22nd, you kind of get the picture here. The polar vortex cell is located over central part of Asia here. We do get pieces that try to break off across the Canadian Yukon, parts of Greenland here, but Europe is really engulfed in a lot of storms, especially snowstorms, Eastern Europe and North Central Europe. But at this time, it's not really going to be too big of a factor here across North America, even as we head towards April 1st. So this trouble spot for Friday is going to be the southeast. Look at this slight risk of severe weather from southeastern Louisiana over to the panhandle of Florida, extreme southwestern Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi. Yeah, this is where you're going to see damaging straight line winds, large hail, isolated tornado potential, especially late morning through early evening here, so keep an eye. All right, so I wanted to show you these thunderstorms, what they're going to do overnight into Friday, St. Patrick's Day here. So HRRR model, the future radar, essentially, what's going on here is we got a big old line of storms, and this is likely to cause damaging wind, large hail overnight. There could be an isolated spin-up of tornadoes here. If you look at the southern edge of this line, that's probably where it's most likely going to form overnight. But as we head forward through the early morning hours, you can see this is 3 a.m. So, yeah, if you're in Louisiana, southeastern Texas here, the coastal areas up through parts of Mississippi and parts of northern Alabama. Now, take a look at this and see what's going to happen with this. This is going to progress east throughout the early morning hours. So it's going to be knocking on the door to New Orleans by 11 a.m. And it's going to be super energized with that heat and humidity that we'll be building ahead of it. So lots of humidity, lots of juice for these thunderstorms, lots of convective available potential energy. And watch, yeah, it kind of fizzles out there once it reaches parts of the Gulf of Mexico. You have a re-energized line out here over the Gulf. But the big focus is going to change over here during the afternoon hours. Parts of the Florida Panhandle, southern Georgia, southern Alabama, an extreme southern part of Mississippi here. Let's continue. This is 3 p.m., so let's approach our evening rush hour here. Yeah, it's going to re-energize over the Gulf here. Panama City, Crestview, Pensacola, all the way up to Albany, Georgia here, just east of Columbia by this time, up towards Fayetteville. So you could have some damaging wind, large hail seems to be the biggest threat, but you cannot rule out a tornado out of this situation here. And as we continue to progress here towards midnight, Friday night, getting out on the town, the venue, all the bars, getting your drinks in. Look at this. Yeah, Florida here. Yeah, you're pretty much just east of Tallahassee, west of Jacksonville. So you're pretty much here into rural parts of Florida. And let's continue to watch this line as it progresses towards the southeast here throughout the night. You know what? The good news is it kind of falls apart. This is 10 a.m. Saturday, though. Look at this. You could get some reorganization over the Gulf. And this is where some models try to develop some area of low pressure. I don't think it's going to make a beeline up the East Coast, though. It's more likely to go out to sea here. All right, so let's take a look at the longer term here. We're going to get through, we'll buzzsaw through the weekend here. So, there we go. There's our system moving through Friday into parts of the Northeast, and then we get that big old blast, that upper low behind it. We get some Gulf moisture, and as I said, this area of low pressure across the Gulf, it's kind of going to head here towards the east-northeast. This upper low in the Northeast, yeah, kind of just hangs around a little bit. We'll get some snow showers behind it heading on into Sunday the 19th here. So, what exactly does this set us up for here? It sets us up for a very quiet pattern here. But we will be dealing with, out west here. Look at this. We just continue to have these big old, just comma-shaped storms here. Let's get the pencil not actually doing this. There we go. So here we go across California. We're just going to continue to get pummeled here with moisture, mountain snow, valley rain. A lot more rain along the coast. Look at that. You can just see the bands of it just moving in. LA up to San Francisco, Eureka, just socked in with it. Now, here's the area of low pressure that's going to meander across the eastern part of the Gulf of Mexico off the southeast coast. By this point, it's going to be into parts of the southeast, it looks like, by the 21st. So, into next week, we head into about Tuesday. Is this going to be a factor? Is this going to be a thing? Well, there it is. Yeah, it's just, the GFS is kind of taking it out to sea. I'm pretty much in agreement with that. A couple days ago, the Euro was taking it right up the coast and bringing a massive snowstorm in this area, which just seemed totally absurd. Yeah, it would be a dream to a lot of people, but it had the look of absurdness on it, and it just, you knew it was going to be a blip on the screen, and the next run it was going to just disappear. So there it is. Goes out into the Atlantic, and look at this. We get this rainfall pattern across the Northeast into the east. And look at this. We probably got another severe weather outbreak here on the 24th. So look at out west here. Yeah, you just continue to remain just, look at these storms just lining up out here over the Pacific. I'll show you the Western Pacific here momentarily with their tropical update. But look at this. Yeah, this is just, back east here, it looks like, we're just going to keep getting these low-pressure systems that form right around the Colorado, Texas area and just slide up here towards the Great Lakes. This has been, the song and dance. Now, look at this. Yeah, you kind of get a few bits of snow, mixed precipitation along the northern fringe of this, but This is not, anything to really write home about. Kind of moves up March 30th, so we're getting way out on the scale here. The margin of error is more than 70 or 80% by this point. All right, so let's take a look at the European run of the 500 millibar flow. We're taking a look at upstairs so we can figure out what the heck is going to go on downstairs. There it is, Sunday and a Monday. There is that eastern trough. I told you this wasn't going to be anything to write home about. Yeah, you'll get some shot of cooler air here, cold air, cool air if you want to call it that. And look at that. Most of the country is gripped in a little bit of troughiness here, lower heights. But you know what? It could be a lot worse. And look at that. We get some ridging by Wednesday. We're going to get a little bit maybe of a warming trend ahead of this next trough. Look at out west here. We're just going to continue to barrel these storms here into the west coast. And look at this. As we continue through Friday, the March 24th, on the east end of that next system that's cranking up in the plains, that popular track we've seen all winter, another firecracker ridge is building here across the eastern part of the country. And look at that. A little bit of a trough heads through the northeast, but the big story continues to be this massive storminess out west. All right, so the European model here. Yeah, I can't say I've been a big fan of any model lately except the mesoscale, the HRRR, but you can only really use that 24 to 36 hours in a close window of an event. So yeah, models have been, let's just put it, terrible this winter. Just miserable. So here we go. We got the system Friday into Saturday that's buzzsawing across the East Coast here. Big old upper level low heading into Canada here and just occluding and washing out. There's our severe weather diving across parts of Florida. And as we head into Saturday, we kind of keep this tropical moisture feed alive here across Florida. So yeah, the front kind of gets hung up here. We're going to have an area of low pressure form. We got another big system forming out west here. And let's continue as we head into Monday. What is going on here? So the European is doing the same thing as the GFS is. So yeah, you have an area of high pressure. You got double barrel, actually triple barrel highs here. And that's going to keep that system cruising. I told you cold air doesn't ensure East Coast snowstorms. We've learned that very well this winter. And look at that. We got another system barreling into the Intermountain West here, bringing in lots of mountain snow. I'll tell you what, you're going to love this in the summertime because you're going to have plenty of water stores up here into the mountains like the Sierra Nevadas. Look at this next storm. This is Tuesday the 21st. Oh, look at this thing. That's just barreling right into the East Coast here while the East is controlled by an area of high pressure. And as we continue through Wednesday, the 22nd, we do have a little system that kind of dives across the southeast. A cold high builds in, so we'll have a little bit of another shot of cold air here. But look what's forming out here in the plains. On the west side of this high, we're going to bring in some very warm air. And there, you guessed it, there it is. A big old, look at that. We're probably going to bring some severe weather north towards the Ohio Valley for next Friday, the 24th. Look at that. Yeah. You might have some overrunning sleet, snow, and freezing rain on the onset of this big old high that's damming cold air on the east end of it here of eastern New York and parts of New England. But you know what? That's going to be short-lived. Watch how quickly. There it is. The rain wins out. So does the warm air. And you kind of get a situation where you have this weakening low over the Great Lakes and then a secondary low trying to form here. Another weak system barreling in. Actually, that's not so weak here into the west coast. Look at that. Just pinwheeling down the coastline here, bringing some more mountain snow, valley rain. And there's our last slide, Sunday the 26th. Oh, that is what the Euro leaves us with. A little weak low here out into parts of the plains and Midwest. All right, so let's get into total liquid precipitation amounts here. We'll just take it through the weekend. Yeah, we're going to see there into the Northeast Ohio Valley anywhere from a tenth to quarter inch for your Friday and Saturday mostly. Late Thursday night, Friday and Saturday. Here across the Southeast, you'll see a couple inches with those gully washers and big-time thunderstorms. And you'll get a snowfall up here and across parts of Wisconsin, northern UP and Michigan here, heading on into northeastern Minnesota. And the big stuff will probably most likely be in Canada again. Now, as we continue, look at that. West, we're barreling a storm in late weekend, early next week, and we're just adding, look at that, more precipitation through the following Sunday, March the 26th. So we're going to add on a bunch of, that's going to be with another low that's going to be moving up. So a lot of this is going to fall as rainfall again. Look at the mountain snow out west and valley rain. So let's get what's going to go out in snowfall. So through the weekend, yeah, there's actually only 2 areas. The upper Midwest here, you might approach warning criteria, parts of extreme northern Wisconsin, UP and Michigan, and parts of Minnesota there. So as you get into southern Colorado, parts of north central New Mexico here, yeah, you're going to see some snowfall with this as well on the western edge of this next low pressure system. Now look at this as we head into next week. The west just piles on more snow, and look at that. Yeah, we might see another storm in the northeast, but once again, it's going to primarily be in interior sections for late next week into next weekend. That's a bit off, though. A lot can change between now and then. And John here, taking a look at the M62 Manchester, Yorkshire motorway. Blizzard conditions, Huddersfield University, all classes canceled. Take a look at this. He's out on the highway cruising along, and look at all that snow blasting down in his view there. Take a look at that. Getting a little bit tough there on the open road. As you can see, the snow just intensifying as he cruises along there and having a bit tough time of it. Yeah, it's definitely been a story here across parts of North America as well. But yeah, definitely stay safe over there, John. All right, so for my Atlantic tropical viewers, Central America, the Caribbean, how's everybody doing down here? I haven't forgot about you. Tropical season is right around the corner. But watch this. Yeah, as we put this into motion, any trouble spots here? Well, yeah, the Eastern Gulf, but I don't think anything's going to form out of that. Of course, it's not going to really progress up the East Coast either. But look at this here across the Caribbean, Gulf of Mexico. You really clear as a bell through the rest of March here. Look at that. You do have a frontal boundary come the 29th, but you know what? Really enjoy this while it lasts here. All right, so as we go out to the Western Pacific here, the area of the world that I am pretty fascinated about. Here we go. The Philippines up to Japan, China, South Korea. Yeah, it's not your tropical season up here, but it is interesting weather, that's for sure. And you got some inclement weather from Tokyo all the way just south of South Korea here. And then just off the coast here of China up towards Taiwan, east of Shanghai here. So essentially here, the Philippines are looking pretty darn good. Look at this. As we continue in time here, this takes us through the 21st, 22nd. Yeah, you're getting quite a few storminess up here. These are medium latitude storms up here in Japan, but look at this. There is nothing to speak of here in the Philippines. Okay, we go through the rest of the month. Most of that intertropical convergence zone stays to the south. You get a few showers that spin up by March 29th or 30th here. But you know what? You're looking pretty decent here until you get to about April 1st, April Fool's Day. Look at this. Yeah, this is no joke. You're going to have some big, heavier showers and thunder showers here. Some tropical downpours kicking in. And you're going to start seeing these systems across the Asian continent ride a little bit higher and higher as we go further into spring. So let's take a look at temperature analysis. Not the best way to do it, but let's just go with the European high resolution here. Look at this Friday. The cold air is all bottled up here across the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Look at this warmth here in the east. Any snow that did fall, I know a lot of you are complaining. That was a big bust of a storm for many of you. Unless you were up in the higher elevations, it just seemed like the precipitation couldn't get going fast enough before it would just melt, on contact on the pavement and whatnot with the higher March sun. But yeah, we just didn't get those heavier bands that would actually overcome all that and get some adiabatic cooling going on. And plus, there wasn't a strong high to the north like we wanted really to see. But look at this. Let's just digress there. Look at this. As we head into the weekend, that big cold shot and Saturday's highs, yeah, you're still holding on to some 50s here along the northeast coast and in some 60s here in the southeast. Look at South Florida, though. You're just 80s again. But look at here in the Dakotas. You're dropping down into the teens. And look at this. As we continue into Sunday night, or Saturday night into Sunday morning here, look at there's your lows. Yeah, you're down to the 32-degree line, all the way down to North Texas, the Carolinas, all the way into the Northeast. Look at that, down into the 20s. But look at that. We warm it up pretty quickly. We're staying kind of cold there across the Northeast. It's actually the coldest spot in the nation, with the exception for the Central Rocky Mountains out here. So that's pretty interesting. We have a cold front that moves through. There's your overnight lows Monday morning. Look at that. 20s all the way down to parts of Alabama and Mississippi. That is quite interesting. South Florida's holding on to some upper 60s, but that might be a little cool for you. So let's take a look at this as we head on into Monday. Yeah, we kind of warm it up here for much of the nation. 40s is going to be a popular number here from the plains all the way up to the east and to the northeast as well. Look at the area 50s and 60s. 74 in Miami. That is kind of cool for you. But let's take a look here. We're cooling it down Tuesday, or Monday. I keep doing that. Monday night into Tuesday morning here. Look at that. The lows going down to the 20s again here in the parts of the south. Holding on to 63 in Miami. Look at this. 20s and some teens up here in the parts of the northeast. But you quickly see this warm flow starting again into parts of the southern plains. And as we head into Tuesday, yeah, you can see that warm building. There's your lows. So Wednesday morning holding on to some 32-degree line here into parts of the east. But look how quickly we warm it up Wednesday ahead of that next system. And then we head into Thursday. Look at that. Yeah, there's definitely a baroclinic zone setting up here. Let's get that off the screen there. And look at this. Warm air pushing into this cold air. Look at this cold dome retreating up here into parts of the northeast. And as we continue in time here, Friday the 24th. It just seems like every Friday in the northeast we roast, if you want to call it that. Look at that. Yeah, you got some cold air up into parts of northern New England, but look at that bubbling warmth here into parts of Ohio, western New York. We're getting 62 there in Pittsburgh. Look at that. We head into Saturday, and we warm it up a little bit here into the east. Yeah, we're starting to push that firecracker weather here into parts of Texas. Extended outlook from our hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton, Upper Susquehanna River Valley. Take a look at this. Friday, yeah, windy and rainy. Yeah, watch out. It might rip apart your umbrella. 54 degrees. Yep, quarter-inch likely. Pretty much an all-day rain event. Saturday, yeah, we'll have some scattered showers in the morning, turning blustery later in the day, 42. And then Sunday, another cold front. We might see a few snow flurries, 34 degrees. It will feel colder than that with the wind. Monday and Tuesday, though, look at that. More spring-like, mid-50s by Tuesday. But watch those overnight lows. Down around 20. Thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather Northeastern and Weather Eastern. Don't forget Facebook MeteoMark, Weather Northeastern. Also, Hurricane Northeastern at Susquehanna Weather for my local page. And guess what? MeteoMark.com, WeatherNortheastern.com is Twitter at Weather Eastern. Don't forget, question or comment down below. Smash that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell button, share the video, and thanks for joining me.